Next slide is about
Encik Rozani minta
slides
maaf.
of Malaysia
Hello,
Tax
Encik Rozani.
Administration. As a general information, over 80 countries worldwide have invoicing mandates, and approximately 50 more intend to impose new or additional mandates, and Malaysia is one of the country. Here is the overview of e-invoice in Malaysia. E-invoicing is one of the government digitalization initiative. Our Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister has announced during the budget 2024 that starting from 1st August 2024, e-invoicing will be mandatory for taxpayers with annual income or sales exceeding 100 million first. Then we'll proceed the implementation in stages. I will show you the implementation timeline later in the slide. So we look benefit to taxpayers about implementation invoicing. So for the benefit of implementing invoice to the taxpayers include first, simplified invoicing, reduce manual effort and minimize human errors, ease of submission transaction document and data digitally. The second one is the system facilitate the tax return filing by ensuring seamless integration, simplifying the reporting process for businesses. For larger enterprise, e-invoice will enhance efficiency through streamlined operation, saving times and costs with automation, seamless data integration, and improved invoice management. The phased implementation of invoicing allows MSMEs to adapt gradually, aligning their financial process with industry standard at their own pace. Okay, sorry for technical errors. Okay. So next slide is what is e-invoice. So if you think having a soft copy invoice in Excel or PDF format, for example, then you email it over to your buyer, is e-invoice, but that is not e-invoice. Okay, so e-invoice is digital representation of transaction between the seller and buyer using a specific file format that will be fully automated within the system to replace traditional invoice paper or digital document like the Excel or PDF. The e-invoice will have details like the traditional invoice. There are currently 55 fields of data information that been identified. I will show you what are the 55 fields later in next slide. So there are 4 types of document of e-invoice transaction. I'm sure you know this document better. First is a invoice. It's a commercial document detailing transaction between the seller and the buyer. It's not limited to sales, but it also used for documenting expenses like import transaction. Next document is credit note and debit note. It's an adjustment document issued if there are changes to original invoice. The fourth one is refund note. It's a document issued to record refund to buyer. Next slide. Who will impact from this implementation? All taxpayers involved in commercial activities across all industry and individual are compulsory to use e-invoice by July 2025. Exemption for implementing e-invoice, you may refer to our general guideline under para 1.6. E-invoice applies to all transactions between B2B, B2C, and B2G. The e-invoice flow for B2G transaction will be similar to B2B. For businesses, issuance of e-invoice will be based on consumer requests. The invoice can be issued either individually or as consolidated e-invoice. Next slide is about implementation of invoice. this slide show announcement by government in the budget 2024. The implementation of e-invoice will be effective starting from 1st August 2024 until it full force for all taxpayers by 1st July 2025. This implementation will be in phase and will be based on two criteria of taxpayer, which is either total annual income or annual sales, to make sure the e-invoice are able to integrate well in their business operation. The next slide show about the timeline. The phase of e-invoice implementation will be start on May 2024, hopefully. It plays a crucial role in testing and validating the feasibility, functionality, and readiness of the My-Invoice system on a smaller scale before it go live. As I said earlier, the implementation will be in three phases. Phase 1, 1st August 2024 for annual income or sales more than 100 million. Phase 2, 1st January 2025 for annual income or sales between 25 million to 100 million. And Phase 3 at 1st July 2025 is already mandatory implementation for all taxpayers. However, kalau ada yang dah bersedia untuk melaksanakan invoicing ini, lembaga hasil tidak menghalang untuk melaksanakan secara sukarela. Okay.